Alright. We'll talk about Titans. As a lot of you guys know, or at least people have been regulars in this channel, I kind of just don't like playing Titans just because currently the entire meta of Titans is literally you play Banner of War or you're just a liability. And that kind of sucks. However, I did want to play something besides Banner for once, because I do want to see, like, you know, how do other builds perform other than that one subclass. And at first, I was kind of not enjoying things on Titan. I tried out, you know, your usual bonk hammer stuff, which of course got nerfed, and then there's T-Crash, but really it's just the T-Crash, and everything else doesn't feel great for the neutral game. Then I ended up trying Consecration Titan, and that's what leads us to today. For whatever reason, my ancient monkey brain, caveman brain, it just loves the fact that you can go uppercut somebody like you're playing Street Fighter and then slam down and just make a bunch of things explode. There's just something good about that feeling. I don't know how to explain it. So I was like, okay, this is nice. This is a good novelty, but can we really make it work consistently in something like Legend Onslaught? Because if only like one slam comes out every, you know, like 2 minutes or whatever, that's not really fun, at least not to me. So I wanted to see if we could make this build more catered around just getting your melees back, you know, every other, like, let's say 20 seconds. And the funny thing is, somebody was like, hey, just use Tommy's matchbook. And then I was like, are you on drugs? What year is this? And to my surprise, I ended up trying Tommy's matchbook, and it worked out great. So for those of you that don't know what Tommy's matchbook is or does, it's an exotic auto that says, sustained fire with this weapon overheats it, increasing damage, but burning the user. So think of it as a solar-flavored touch of malice, but an auto rifle. So at first you're like, okay, but eventually you're going to burn yourself to death, and how's that going to really help you? But then you remember suddenly, oh, I'm on solar, which means I have access to restoration, so this is going to become really stupid all of a sudden. So essentially restoration on this build cancels out the burn from Tommy's matchbook. So as long as you have the uptime going, you will just continuously never take damage from the negative effects of Tommy's matchbook, but you will still get the benefits of it mowing over all the trash mobs. Then we take it one step further, and we combine it with our exotic armor of choice, which is Actium War Rig. For people that don't know what Actium War Rig is, essentially, if you run this with an auto or a machine gun, it'll load ammo back into your mag as you're firing. And given that we're using an auto rifle that already has plenty of ammo, while we're just spamming Tommy's matchbook, Actium War Rig is going to put more ammo back into our mag to just let us shoot basically forever until all the enemies are dead. So we have our exotic weapon and our exotic armor out of the way. Let's talk about the kit. For our Sunbreaker in the subclass screen, let's start with abilities. We got Towering Barricade, but you could run Rally if you'd like. Strafe Lift, you can run whatever jump you want. Throwing Hammer or Baby Hammer in the third slot. And then finally, we have Healing Grenade. I don't think I need to explain why we have a Healing Grenade, but additionally, it also does give us Restoration, so that's just a good benefit as well. In our aspects, we have Consecration, which is going to be part of the whole synergy of the kit. You're going to build up your Consecration Slam, slam it on a bunch of enemies, things are going to explode, make fire sprites, etc., and then you're going to build it back up with the use of our kit in total with our weapon, and just repeat the process over and over. Then in the other slot, we have Sol Invictus. So essentially, Sol Invictus is going to be here to create sunspots everywhere you possibly can, especially down hallways where the ad waves come in through. So solar abilities, Hammer of Soul impacts, or defeating scorched targets will create these sunspots. So everything you're doing is going to be creating a sunspot, and if you make one in a perfect spot, all the, let's say, Marauders, or Cursed Thrall, or Exploder Shanks are going to run right through it, and then explode, and continue the whole chain. For our fragments, going from left to right, we have the staple Ember of Torches. Power melee attacks against combatants make you radiant. In the second slot, we have Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite. This is going to be a key fragment to run for this build. Third slot, another key fragment, we have Ember of Benevolence. Applying Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to allies gets increased grenade, melee, and class ability regeneration for a short duration. So this is huge because you get, I believe, a 400% extra recharge rate on your abilities, which will help you get your melee ability back super quick. And then finally, in the fourth slot, we have Ember of Empyrean. Solar Weapon or Ability Final Blows, Extended Duration, Restoration, and Radiant apply to you. So basically, you get your Restoration up, it's 15 seconds, you just keep getting kills, and it'll never go down, so you will always be getting healed in combat. So in simple terms, your general loop is going to be Consecration Slam, make a bunch of things explode, make a Sunspot, Fire Sprite, whatever, maybe some orbs, and then from there on, your entire job is going to be use Tommy's matchbook on every trash mob that you see to get your melee back as fast as humanly possible. Once you do, you once again Consecration Slam and repeat the process. In a perfect scenario, if done right, between Tommy's matchbook and the mods in your armor, you can get your Consecration Slam back almost immediately, and you could sometimes even get it back-to-back immediately if the ad wave sets up correctly for you. Before moving on to mods, I just want to mention the 2 other weapon slots. You can run whatever you like, basically. 90% of the time, you're going to use Tommy's matchbook. The only other times you're going to use other weapons are either to stun a champion or to fight the big yellow bar enemies within Onslaught. So like the big shield bomber or maybe the 2 big demolitionists. In that case, I use something like Apex Predator with Recon or Bipod, or really any rocket that you have with some sort of bipod setup, because it's just really helpful to fire a bunch of rockets back to back to back, and then go back to your usual setup of Tommy's and Consecration Slam. As always for mods, top to bottom, starting at helmet first, we got 3 mods here. 2 of them are going to be Harmonic Siphon, just to make big orbs off of your Tommy's matchbook, which again, you're going to be using like 90% of the time. The third slot is going to go to Hands-On to gain bonus super energy on melee kills. Now, I actually haven't mentioned it yet, but your super is also really good in this situation because Hammer of Soul can just make you a billion sunspots wherever you would like, so you can set up literal spawn traps just with your super alone to make things explode, make more orbs, and so on. So it's not like the ideal game plan for the kit to just abuse your super, but when you do have it, and there's big enemies on board, chunky yellow bars, it also still is very good. In our gloves, we have 2 mods. The first one being Heavy-Handed, powered melee final blows create orbs of power, so every time you Consecration Slam. By the way, imagine this wasn't nerfed, and Heavy-Handed procced every single time that you do Consecration, so you could just do it like back to back to back to make tons of orbs without a cooldown. That would have been silly. Anyway, the second mod is going to be Impact Induction, causing damage with a powered melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown just for a healing grenade. On your chest piece, you of course want 3 reserve mods to increase the ammo of your Tommy's matchbook, because I'm just kidding, don't fall for that. I'm joking. You want resist mods on your chest. Arc, Solar, and Void Resist. Move on to boots. For our boots, I got 3 mods, and 2 of them are going to be Solar Weapon Surge, and the final third one is going to be Invigoration to reduce our melee cooldown each time that we pick up an Orb of Power. And finally, we have 3 mods in the class item. The first one is Bomber to reduce our grenade cooldown when using our class ability. The second one is Reaper. Shortly after popping our Barricade, next weapon kill we get is going to give us an Orb of Power. And finally, Outreach, reducing our melee cooldown when using our class ability. Now with the main stuff out of the way, let's talk about the artifact, because it has a bunch of juicy things that we should be using. Number 1, Flint Striker. Rapid Solar Precision Final Blows or just hits gives you Radiant. Torch. While Radiant, deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by Strand or Stasis. This is easily done by just using Riptide and shooting something with Choke Clip, and then bam, you have a debuff on them. Kindling Trigger. Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. So anytime you just shoot Tommy's matchbook, you're going to start applying Scorched instantly. Heart of the Flame, you could use to buff your solar super, technically speaking, but is not mandatory. Next is Revitalizing Blast, causing damage with a solar ability, weakens champions and bosses for a short duration. It's really easy to use a solar ability in this build, so it's very helpful on those Demolitionist or Sky Bomber waves. And then finally, Razor Precision. While Radiant, Solar Precision Final Blows cause targets to ignite. Tommy's matchbook is going to ignite the goddamn world. So that is the whole breakdown. Like I said, I've been very low on terms of just wanting to use Titans this entire season, besides Banner of War. So to find a build that is actually fun to play, and I can just run and turn my brain off in Onslaught and just make everything explode, is a very good feeling. And I feel like a lot of people just want to do that. They want to go into a playlist and just make enemies explode. So this should be right up everyone's alley, honestly. So yeah, that's the build. I will have a dim link for this build down below in the description. And while you're down there, feel free to follow any of the other socials. Twitch, TikTok, Whisper, the community Discord, all that stuff is down there if you like any of that stuff. But if you want to just support the YouTube, consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated. And if you want to go the extra mile, you could also leave a like and a comment below. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you could just leave Sunbreaker as the comment. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.